on the parathyroid hormone is that parathyroid hormone at a basic fundamental level is going to be related to calcium metabolism. Right. And so in the subsequent slides, we're going to go into the parathyroid physiology, especially that from BRS. But what I first want to do is I want to give you a general overview as to how I look at parathyroid hormone. Okay. So remember that parathyroid hormone, going back to our general principles, parathyroid hormone acts via a GPCRS. And parathyroid hormone is actually going to be secreted from where? Well, if they ask you, it's actually going to be from the parathyroid glands, and the parathyroid glands are seen where? Behind the thyroid.
Right.
Now, parathyroid hormone, on exam questions, they want you to know where are the metabolic effects of parathyroid hormone. I'm going to give you some pictures to solidify it. You're going to have the kidney, you're going to have the bone, and you're going to have the gut. Those are the three areas that parathyroid hormone are going to really love to act. So let's go into this step by step. Parathyroid hormone is going to affect your nephron in very unique ways. If this is your rudimentary picture of your nephron, this is your proximal convoluted tubule, this is your ascending loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule, and collecting duct. If on an exam question they ask you, where's the primary effect of parathyroid hormone? It is going to be in the distal convoluted tubule. Because in the distal convoluted tubule, parathyroid hormone increases calbindin, and you get increased calcium reabsorption.
Mm-hmm.
But parathyroid hormone is also known as phosphate trashing hormone. And that phosphate trashing, i.e. decreased reabsorption of phos, is going to occur at the PCT. This is where the PTH is going to waste the phos. That is the primary effect in the kidney. But the other effect that the kidney is going to have in relation to PTH is that PTH is going to activate a kidney enzyme known as 1-alpha hydroxylase. And 1-alpha hydroxylase takes 25 vitamin D and turns it into 125 vitamin D.
Right.
Now, where did we get 25 vitamin D? Well, from the liver. This is known as our storage form of vitamin D. So in exam questions, if you're going to be testing for vitamin D deficiency, you're going to be testing for the 25 vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 125 vitamin D, that's your active form of vitamin D. And to skip ahead, 125 vitamin D acts on the gut. What does 125 vitamin D do to the gut? Well, it increases intestinal reabsorption of calcium and phos. That's the primary effect of 125 vitamin D. And it is through this PTH activating 1-alpha hydroxylase that is going to give you this effect on the gut.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's also important to recognize is that PTH is going to hit the bone. And what is PTH going to do to the bone? Well, PTH is going to actually activate osteo, and you heard me first, blasts. And what PTH does is it activates osteoblasts, and then osteoblasts make rank ligand. And this rank ligand is going to bind to the rank receptor on osteoclasts.
Right.
And that then is going to break down your hydroxyapatite crystals, increases calcium and phos levels in your blood. One of the exam questions they love to go for is they'll say, what's the embryological derivative of osteoclasts? And remember, they're monocyte or macrophage derivatives.
Mm-hmm.
So then we talked a lot about calcium and phos, And so what I want to do is I want to give you a nice little compare and contrast between parathyroid hormone, the net effects, and the net effects of 125 vitamin D.
Okay.
And they all relate to the effect on calcium, the effect on phos. PTH does what to your serum calcium levels?
Increases it.
And PTH does what to your serum phos levels?
Increases it as well.
Decreases it, because the net effect is phosphate trashing hormone. And that phosphate trashing hormone actually supersedes the small phos increase that you get when PTH activates osteoclasts downstream.
Okay.
125 vitamin D is going to do what to your calcium?
It would increase it.
From the gut. What does it do to your phos?
Would it increase it as well?
That's it. And so it is the phos handling that is the difference between PTH and 125 vitamin D. Now, this is more of a physiology lecture, but I can't help myself and let you know that you can have what we call secondary hyperparathyroidism when you don't have good 1-alpha hydroxylase. In this scenario, you have low amounts of 125 vitamin D, and that can mess with your calcium and phos reabsorption. But stay tuned to our pathology lectures to get that concept even more. But just remember that 1-alpha hydroxylase can get messed up in kidney disease. So in summary, with this overview, we talked a little bit about PTH, the GPCR, the net effect in the kidney, bone, and gut, the fact that PTH is primarily increasing calcium, trashing your phos, increasing the rank ligand and rank receptor activity, and active vitamin D.
Right.